Meanwhile, Austin, Texas, taking measures to combat the spread of the virus. The mayor there banning public and private gatherings of 10 people or more, while also restricting public dining areas in restaurants and bars. Austin police can now arrest and fine anyone who does not follow the policies, give them $1,000 fine, or give them up to 6 months in jail. Joining us now by phone is Austin Mayor Steve Adler. Mayor, we've talked before. I hope you're doing well. Have you made any arrests as of now?
We have not, and thus far there hasn't been cause to do so, and we're lucky, we're fortunate about that. But I'll tell you, when we did South by a week ago, we were an outlier, and then everybody else did it. When we closed restaurant dining rooms and bars, raised some eyebrows. But I'll tell you, my governor today in the state of Texas just issued an order that did the same thing statewide. So it's becoming more of what everybody recognizes has to be done.
But you're still pretty far away from where San Francisco is with their shelter-in-place, right?
Yes, we're not to a shelter-in-place place. It's okay for people to go outside. In fact, it's probably healthy to go outside and walk around. But trying to minimize the number of people that gather together in one group because that social spreading is what enables this kind of thing to really get out of hand.
What about your homeless population, Mayor? This is a population that is particularly vulnerable to this virus.
It's a real concern because it's very difficult to get any kind of social distancing in that environment. And it comes at a time when we were already trying to find better and safer places for these folks to be. So we're trying to source temporary locations, temporary opportunities. I know some other cities, Seattle, are now creating more kind of like tent areas. That's the kind of thing that we're looking at as well.
But some of those, I've seen some of those homeless shelters in L.A. and elsewhere, and they violate your own rules about a gathering of 10 or more people. You have a group of 25 to 50 people in the same room.
Well, the rules we have deal with social separation. So rather than having a group of people in a camp off by themselves where there's 100 people gathered, if we could set up an environment where people are at least 6 feet apart, that's going to be a lot healthier for them than right on top of one another. So we're trying to find these kind of interim locations. When we have some people, and we haven't had any yet, but undoubtedly it will, where we have a positive reading from somebody that's experiencing homelessness, then we're going to have to work our way back to the people they were around. That's going to get us back to these kinds of camps. So we're going to have to do the isolating.
Summer is coming. I don't have to tell you, and that's when the homeless begin to camp out in public places. It was that rule that you had that created a lot of discomfort with some folks in Austin. Will that be allowed? Will you allow people to camp out in public with this virus afoot?
I think we're going to have to find ways for that community to be able to separate. I think we'll probably take a longer look at sanctioned camping areas, which is something we tried not to do before. But we're going to have to do something.
Yeah.
The virus adds an element that didn't exist a year ago.
It sure does. And we have a homeless problem of our own here in New York City where the virus is close to out of control. Steve Adler, we thank you very much for joining us. We wish you the best of luck.